You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another episode of OverAnalyzing, the series where I take a more in-depth look at the fictional universes which I love. Now, if you remember, right now we're doing a multi-parter about Red Dwarf, but today we're taking a break from that because we're going to alternate each one. However, every other one in addition to that, I have a couple other things I have planned out. So, I'm also going to be doing a series of character profiles, primarily based on the characters of Go Nagai, although they don't have to be. If you have suggestions for character profiles you want me to do, I'd be more than happy to do them. The more obscure, the better, too. So, we're starting off today with Naojiro Abashiri, because I talk about him a lot on the channel. So, I'm going to be doing two things in this video. Part 1, I'm going to be talking about everything I know about Naojiro from memory. Later on in the video, we're going to take a look at the wiki page about Naojiro to see what Chisu has to say about him. If you don't know, Chisu is the one who actually runs the Go Nagai wiki, and he's pretty cool. He has a lot of Go Nagai knowledge. So, what I know about Naojiro, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit limited about the original Naojiro. All I know about the original Naojiro Abashiri comes from the 4-episode OVA series, as the manga has not even been slightly translated. But Naojiro is one of the primary members of the Abashiri family, a family of criminals which are considered to be the most dangerous criminals in the world that the police themselves are terrified of. The military is constantly having to be sent in to stop these guys and can't do shit about them. They are incredibly overpowered. Naojiro himself is actually a cyborg, and he has super strength and is bulletproof. We know that he deeply cares about his siblings and his father. Specifically, he cares a lot about his sister Kikunosuke, who he was originally told was his brother because she was raised as a boy until the age of 16, where it was finally revealed she was a woman, at which point they decided to end their life of crime, so that she could live as a normal woman, and the boys could live as normal boys. We don't really get to see a lot of what Naojiro was supposed to be doing on a normal basis, but we do see Kikunosuke going off to school. We're not going to get into that completely because this video is primarily about Naojiro, but Naojiro himself does eventually end up going to help save Kikunosuke from the corrupt school itself, which, in all honesty, after reading a little bit of Kekko Kamen, I'd say that school is pretty much the same thing as the school from Kekko Kamen, but that's neither here nor there. The Naojiro I'm most familiar with is Naojiro Hayami. Naojiro Hayami is Naojiro's form that he takes in the Cutie Honey franchise. Well, one of two forms he takes. The other one is Naoko. But we're going to focus on Naojiro Hayami for a second. Naojiro Hayami is Seiji Hayami's cousin and the nephew of Danbei Hayami. Danbei Hayami being based off of Damon Abashiri himself as well. Not to mention Junbei Hayami is based off the youngest Abashiri family member, whose name I forget. In Cutie Honey, Naojiro is the leader of a gang of thugs at Paradise School. Originally introduced as somewhat of an adversary to Honey, eventually he steps down and lets her be the leader of his gang, effectively becoming one of her henchmen. It's this characterization of Naojiro that we tend to see the most common. The stereotypical kind of punk thug is how Naojiro is typically depicted. There are a few exceptions. For instance, in Demon Prince Enma, he's depicted as a police officer who deeply cared about his sister. Naojiro appears in many Go Nagai works. He has a very brief cameo in Shin Mazinger in the background. Not only is he in the original Cutie Honey, but even though his character should have logically have been dead by the events of New Cutie Honey, considering it takes place 100 years in the future, he can still be seen in the background in one episode of New Cutie Honey as well. Naojiro is always depicted as the tough guy, thug-type character, and that's, I don't know why, but for some reason I really like him because of that. He's also the leader of a gang of thugs in Violence Jack, where his name is changed to Kraken, and he appears in almost every Go Nagai thing I've seen, honestly, at this point. So really, as I said, I am kind of limited in the information I have about Naojiro in depth, but let's see what Chisu has to say real quick. Alright, so here we've got the mobile version of the Go Nagai wiki, and we have Naojiro Abashiri's page on there. As you can see, there's Naojiro right here in the middle. Naojiro Abashiri is a big buff guy whose character design was reused in like a third of Go Nagai's crap. Also, he's a robot. Fairly accurate description, I guess. Now let's take a look at him in the Abashiri family. On Amitsu Abashiri's 10th anniversary, Damon Abashiri brings his family along for a bank heist. They bust in and each of them uses their superpowers in some way against the bank president's forces. After the bank guns open fire, the bank guy emerges in a cyberpod and declares he has killed the Abashiris, but Naojiro Abashiri busts out of the rubble as a robot, declaring he is immortal, and then Damon says he is a cyborg, robot except his brain. He shoots everyone up with his arm gun and missiles. After Kikunosuke Abashiri slags the bank guy, they use the cash they jacked to distract the cops. The next day, or W/E he? Huh? The next day, or what? I'm not entirely sure what this means. He and Goemon Abashiri and Kichiga Abashiri spy on Kikinosuke changing. Dude, that's your sister. It's true, she is their sister. And he hides under a sheet pretending to be furniture. Was there furniture there before, or did he hope she wouldn't notice a new couch? Later, he has breakfast with his fam despite being a robot. Later, he tries to sleep as Goemon lusts over his hot sister. After they find out the school is a hellhole, they go to save her, and Damon kills through a bunch of guys. They face off against Danjuro Namakubi, who Naojiro attacks, but is tentacled by the geezer's hair and explodes. Don't worry, his head is okay. He's captured by a gang of students and nearly executed until Kichiga saves them. So Kichiga, I think, is the name of the youngest Abashiri, even though I was forgetting it earlier. He was voiced by Tesho Gendon, who was Taurus in Saint Seiya, Shu in Dragon Ball, Optimus Prime in Transformers? Must have been in the original Transformers, the one I haven't seen. Okay. So that's actually telling you who this guy's played. Okay, fair enough. And he was Goki in Shutendoji, and Cross in Shin Mazinger. It would make sense that he was Cross in Shin Mazinger, because Cross's cyborg form was based off Naojiro, so... He played Violent Jack in Harem Bomber. Okay, well there you go. He's played a lot of people. I'm not going to go through all of this. Cutie Honey. In the manga, there's Sukiban Naoko, who's a slightly gender-changed version of him. They did very little to make him womanly. But in the anime, there's Naojiro Hayami, who's Donbei's nephew. Yeah, see, I've already mentioned that briefly. Shutendoji, this is him in Shutendoji. In here, he's Naojiro Ayama, the son of a future heir to the Diamond Gang, which controls all of Tokyo. And he helped Yusuke and Jiro Shutendo fight off against Kitani and Juwan Bakukai. Riki knocks down Juwan Bokikai with Koyayashi's aid and bolts when he gets back up. During this chase, Naojiro uses a grenade on him, and he's not seen for most of the anime. Kitani summons an Oni, and they slide down the grass hill like a Sonic game. Naojiro gets pissed off and throws the grenade, but it does nothing. The Oni throws a tree, and the impact F's up his leg with a big-ass splinter so he can't get away. Naojiro does a kamikaze with a grenade he's holding, and the Oni grabs him, which blows the Oni's arm off at the shoulder, which doesn't make sense, as he was holding him in the palm of his hand. Hey, yeah, that's true, I didn't even think of that. So much for being the future heir to the Damon Gang. Oh, this happened in Shutendoji OVA 2. He's remembered in OVA 4 when they remember those descended from Goki who bit it. Yeah, so... As I did mention, I will put a spoiler warning before I get to this section, but as I did mention, Naojiro dies in almost every cameo he gets. So here he is as Kraken in Violent Jack. In one arc, the Abashiri family cast shows up, and Naojiro is Kraken, who runs a slave camp, but was friends with a girl he unknowingly imprisons, whose cross-dressing is a guy, and he's also a lesbian, whose girlfriend's killer he saved from, what the fuck, that's like a bad Degrassi episode. So cameos, there he is in New Cutie Honey, I did briefly mention that before. Here he is in Mazinger Kaiser. As you can see, in Mazinger Kaiser OVA 5, Baron Ashura gets the Photon Power Lab as a fake Genosuke Yumi, and as he nears the inner areas, he gets past a guard who's totally not Naojiro. Yeah, see, there he is right there. Another thing I did forget to mention about Naojiro when I was talking about him on my own thing, Naojiro has these scars on his face almost all the time. The only time I have seen him without the scars was when he appeared in Demon Prince Enma, which they don't even mention here on the wiki. That's what Chisu had to say about him on the Go Nagai wiki. Let's take a look at what our friends over on the Mazinger Wiki have to say, because they also have a page. So here we have him on the Mazinger Wiki. That's his design in Mazinger Angels, if I'm not mistaken. Naojiro Abashiri is a recurring character in Mazinger Angels, originally from Abashiri Ika, that's the Abashiri family. His full name is never stated in the manga, but his interactions with Goemon, mentioned by Damon in Mazinger Angel Z, implies he has the same role and name as he did in his original appearance. Production background. Naojiro originally appeared in Abashiri Ika as the second-born son of Damon Abashiri, attending high school, who was well known for his superhuman strength. Personality. Naojiro has the mannerisms of a stereotypical delinquent Yankee. speeding away any obstacles to his goal, often Boss and his gang. I'd love to see that, a showdown between Boss and Naojiro. I gotta read Mazinger Angels. He has an obvious crush on Sayaka, and often tried to ask her out on a date, to which she almost always physically retaliates. He once even tried to hit on Miki Makimura, who he claimed is the second girl in his school worth chasing, only to be declined by Miki and struck down by Akira Fudo. Like his original counterpart, Naojiro has great physical strength, able to knock away Boss and his gang with one punch. When against Sayaka, however, he does not have much luck, even when he's really trying. History. Naojiro attends the same high school as Sayaka and Boss, and often tries to go out with Sayaka, only to be retaliated against her. So that's what they had to say here on the Mazinger Wiki. So we've looked at 2 different wiki pages, and I've told you my own recollection of him from memory. As you can see, Naojiro honestly doesn't have a ton of depth, but he's just such a likable character for whatever reason. He just kind of has this natural charisma about him. So it's hard not to like him. I'm not entirely sure why I like him so much, but I do. Anyway, that's Naojiro. This has been Fugitive Red Eye. Do let me know if you have any suggestions for future character profiles, or just episodes of OverAnalyzing, or just videos in general. And have a great rest of the day.
Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.